Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the Electors meeting for the 2021 financial year report. I'd like to declare the meeting open at 5:01 and to provide an acknowledgement of the Balladong Noongar people, who are the traditional custodians of the land where we meet today, and the Yuid and Whadjuk peoples, who are traditional custodians of respective lands within the wider Shire of Tujay. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I do welcome those who've made the effort to show up today. I appreciate Matildas are playing, and there is some very strict criteria here, but this is quite an important thing. So what I would like to first raise with everybody is a little introduction about the report. So the background is that under section 5.27 of the Local Government Act, a general meeting of the electors of a district is to be held once every financial year on a day selected by the local government, but not more than 56 days after the local government accepts the annual report for the previous financial year. Now, the purpose of holding a general meeting is to discuss prescribed matters in accordance with Regulation 15 of the Local Government Administration Regulations of 1996, which states the matters to be discussed at a general electors meeting are firstly the contents of the annual report for the previous financial year, and then any other general business. Now, you're all aware that a general meeting has not been held since February 2021 due to the challenges in finalising the 2021 audit. Under usual circumstances, the legislated dates for audit completion can be comfortably achieved subject to auditors' availability. However, as reported to the Audit and Risk Committee and Council, there were a number of factors, most significantly a flawed enterprise resource planning transition that is known to most of you as Datascape, that led to substantial delays in the process. The annual financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2021 were signed off by the Office of the Auditor General on Friday, the 1st of June 2023. An ordinary council meeting was held on the 28th of June, and council accepted the 2021 annual report. Now, I think it's important to note that it's clear that elements of the transition to the new ERP Datascape were flawed, and errors arose potentially from a lack of focus on project management, insufficient understanding of Datascape capabilities, the stage move to Datascape, and significant staff turnover. The Datascape implementation challenges are the major contributing factor for delays to what are considered ordinary financial management practices. And we're very aware of this. Council's very aware of this. As a result, the auditors expressed concerns that not all values could be verified, which led to the disclaimer opinion being received for the 2021 financial year. Most importantly, it's important to note that at no point were the auditors or Shire management concerned that the financials contained fraudulent transactions or activities. Whilst individual transactions could be easily identified and verified, the issue lay with the bulk journals containing aggregated balances for hundreds of transactions. Officers have continued to work on these issues, working closely with the auditors, Datascape developers and the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries to resolve the current challenges. To assist with this process, the Shire has engaged More Australia to undertake the financial management and audit regulation reviews, which will provide a valuable benchmarking tool for officers. Due to the timing and availability of the contractor, This process is expected to commence in August 2023. A full report will be brought back to the Audit and Risk Committee and Council upon completion. Now, the annual report has a hard copy has been provided there, and it has been available online for quite a period of time. So first of all, I'd like to ask, are there any questions in particular to what has been said so far? Are there any points that you'd like to ask? Don't be intimidated by me sitting here. If there's not, then I'm going to ask for a mover for the officer's recommendation that the Shire of 2J annual report for the 2021 financial year, accepted by a council resolution OCM 137/06/23 on the 28th of June 2023 as presented, be received. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Pearce. Do I have any objections from anybody? Yes? You have an objection?
Well, firstly, we haven't actually discussed the financial draft. If there's any questions on the financial.
Yes?
So I don't, because to be honest, I didn't waste the time for the 2 years old. But I would like to have in the motion, and I would possibly...
Oh, excuse me. We actually should, if you've got a question, we should have the microphone going. So we'll just make sure the microphone is available for you, Shelley, because it's what we are doing is streaming live so that you have the opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, I have probably an amendment to the motion, and I know that there's a copy of the auditor's acknowledgement in the report, but I'd like it put into the motion that while it's accepted, it is not a verified audited financials. I think that's important because not everyone's going to go in and read the report.
Right, certainly. So you've moved, I'm sorry, Maria. No. So you've objected to it? And you'd like to move an amendment that you propose an amendment to the motion that the words are that while it is expected, it is not a accepted, Maria. While it is accepted, it is not a verified audited, it is not a verified audited financial report. Thank you. Is that wording correct to you? Right. Do I have a seconder for the... Certainly, Councillor.
So the auditor used a particular phrase. Yeah, so...
Yep.
So, and that's not, I don't think that, does that occur anywhere in the officer's report, that phrase, anywhere? No. Can we have some clarification on what the auditor actually did present to us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, please.
I'll just bear with us, please, Mr. Val. The CEO will expand upon this.
So on page 1 of 3, which is the third last page of the annual report, there is an independent auditor's report for 2021. The auditor has, at the first heading, is disclaimer of opinion. I was engaged to audit the annual financial report of the Shire of 2J, which comprises the Statement of Financial Position, the Statement of Comprehensive Income by Nature or Type, Statement of Comprehensive Income by Program, Statement of Changes in Equity, statement of cash flows and rate-setting statement for the year then ended, notes comprising a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. I do not express an opinion on the accompanying financial report for the Shire. Because of the significance of the matter described in the basis for disclaimer of opinion section of my report, I've not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for an audit opinion on the financial report. So my suggestion would be, as presented, be received, noting the disclaimer of opinion contained in the independent auditor's report.
Are you happy with that, Mr Vowlinstead? So that the officer's recommendation will now read that the Shire of 2J annual report for the 2021 financial year be accepted by council resolution. Accepted by council resolution number OCM 137/06/23 on the 28th of June 2023 as presented, noting the disclaimer opinion contained in the independent auditor's report. Now we need to... No, it's not coming together very well here. Be received, thank you. Yep, now we have that where it should be. Now, I will... Yes, Councillor McEwen.
To drag it out too long, but it's not ambiguous, but that the Shire of 2J annual report for the 2020-2021 financial year, that was accepted by council resolution.
That was accepted,
Yeah.
yes. Just pop after financial year was accepted.
That was accepted.
That was accepted
Yeah.
by council resolution.
Yeah.
Right. We'll need a seconder for the... Well, you've moved... you have actually moved it. So is there somebody else who'd second it? Thank you. I'm sorry. Can you please state your name? Cheryl Jean, thank you. Has seconded the motion.
Excuse me, Madam President. Because there was an objection...
Sorry, seconded the amendment, I should say.
Because there was an objection to the recommendation, did we need a seconder first?
Yes, we have asked Cheryl, yes, you're quite correct. We need a seconder for the... well, at the moment, we didn't have a seconder, but we do need a seconder now for the motion. So we have a seconder for the amendment. We have a seconder for the... we have a mover for the... we have a mover for the substantive. We have a mover for an amendment. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jean, are you seconding the substantive motion? So are you seconding the officer's recommendation? If you would, is that your intent? And then we need to get a seconder for the amendment. Both. All right, so you'll second both. Thank you. Right, then we need to put the amendment as it is to the vote first. So is there any objection to the adding the words noting the disclaimer opinion contained in the independent auditor's report were included after the words as presented? If there's no objection, then the amendment is carried. Then that becomes part of the substantive motion. So we now need to address the substantive motion. Councillor Pearce, do you wish to speak to it?
No, thank you.
Mrs Jean, you're quite entitled to speak to this motion if you wish. Is there anything you wish to say about it, or are you quite happy? All right. All right, that's fine, thank you. Okay, is there anybody who wishes to speak for or against? Did you wish to speak at all? No? In which case I'll put this recommendation to the vote. All in favour? Yeah. You can all, right, so, yeah, everybody. Unanimous, thank you. I understand it's quite a complex annual report because of the length of time that we're addressing it, because of the issues that have been undertaken, and the fact that the auditor was unable to provide an accurate and complete report and has had to provide a disclaimer opinion. However, as has been noted, there has not been any evidence detected of wrongdoing, and the issue with Datascape, we hope, is being resolved sooner than later. I can tell you that the auditors are now working backwards on the next year's figures with the staff to establish an opening balance. The reason is, and the reason that we've had this problem, is that when we had the opening balance for the 2022 report, it needed to match the closing balance of the 2021. And because there is some discrepancy there, which they suspect is due to when they transferred the data, some items being put into different categories that has altered the overall balance. So it's not saying that money has gone or been included, but what they're saying is they're thinking that it is a error of transition. So it's a matter now of trying to sort that issue out so that we go forward with a clean slate. So thank you. And so moving to general business, there were questions taken on notice at the previous electors' general meeting, and the questions asked that were taken on notice were one from E. Twine, and the summary of the question one was, on page 18, with respect to the roadworks in the report, it says that the grant funding was $396,249 and that there was no council funding and total cost was exactly the same as the grant funding. Is that correct? On the figures with the grant funding compared to the total cost, and there is no council funding, and usually with grants, black spot funding is 2/3, 1/3, and regional road group funding is 50-50. In the budget, the total costs were higher than what they say in the report. I just wondered why it is like that. And I took the question on notice, as we did not have a finance officer present at the time. So the response is, some black spot funding can be fully funded. However, in this instance, the top 4 amounts are the budgeted costs of the projects. However, they are 2/3 funded by Main Roads and 1/3 funded by the Shire of 2J. The project budget was $396,750, with Main Roads WA paying $264,500 and the Shire paying $132,250. On page 18, the top 4 projects were all 2/3, 1/3 funded, including the next 2 projects, Bajording and Dreyer, are correct, as Roads to Recovery fully funded. The next question was, in the emergency services, it says there was a heap of mitigation work done, and roughly I thought it was $1.2 million grant funding that we got. Was that fully expended, or did we have to hand some back? I responded at the time, my understanding is that some was returned, but I will seek clarification on that. The response was, total funding allocation was 1.092 $1,092,800, and we expected 920,100. There was an underspend of 172,700 due to cost savings, with treatments not conducted due to unfavourable weather conditions. So those were the questions that were taken on notice. Yes, Councillor. Yes, Mr. Val.
Yes, I have a question. If you could clarify, there's nothing in this agenda that says what the date of that previous CCM was or what financial report those questions are referring to. If you could clarify that for the meeting, please.
Yes.
So the exact date, I can't tell you, but the meeting was held in February 2021 and was referring to the annual report for the 2019-2020 financial year.
Councillor McEwen.
Ricky, Mr. Twine's question asked about whether we had to refund some money,
He did.
and it looks like we underspent. So did we have to refund some money?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, maybe we should add that in.
Thank you.
I think we... Okay, thank you very much. I just wasn't sure of the funding source in question 2, so...
Yeah, I mean, Rick, Mr. Twine refers to 1.2 million,
Yes.
and then there was 1.09 million budgeted,
Yes.
but we only
Yes,
spent
you're-
920 something.
I stand corrected. I can see that there now. Thank you. Now,
I assume that was fully funded, wasn't it? The mitigation work.
it's...
so we had-
yes,
so it had to go back.
It was fully funded. Yep, thank you. I'm going to ask, are there any questions from the floor or from council with regard? Yes, Mr. Val.
I understand that you're not sure when Datascape's going to get sorted out, but can it be taken to council that a electors meeting is held as soon as practical after those financial reports are verified, so that the community's brought up to, you know, speed?
Absolutely, that
and all of
is...
that?
That's regulated that we do that anyway, and...
It is regulated 59 days after the last financial year.
56
but
days.
56,
yep,
sorry.
yes.
But if we could do it as soon as practical, I think we're 2 years out of date, and I think it would be appropriate to bring that forward if at all possible.
Okay. Certainly taken on board. Do you have any further questions? No? Does anybody else have any further questions? And don't feel intimidated to ask a question. If there's something you don't understand, don't feel that you can't ask it because may seem to you a simple question, you should feel comfortable with what we're saying, and can be an intimidating experience for some people to stand up and ask a question, but we're here to answer. Yes, that was already raised, thank you. Yeah. No. Mrs Jeans raised the question, what happened to the 172,000 in the questions that were on notice, but it was already answered, so I don't think she had an opportunity to get the microphone to ask. Is there any other business that the community would like to bring to the table, or councillors, with regard to today? I'll be quite frank, we would like to have had a better presentation and opportunity to go through and explain things a little more. We are under an enormous amount of duress at the moment with the audits, and it is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on a very small staff at the moment. And we have sacrificed that today simply because this is an imperative and we're on a timeline with the department to do so. We have produced the annual report, but please feel free that if you read through the annual report, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, don't be afraid to approach us and ask. I'm more than happy to answer those. If there's no further questions, it's probably going to be the shortest meeting on history. Then I will declare the meeting closed at 27 minutes past 5. And thank you for making the effort to come. If you'd like to stop afterwards for a few minutes and speak to any councillors one-on-one, you're also very welcome. I do apologise. What I did not do at the beginning of the meeting was to inform everybody that Councillor Hart was online. And
Thank you.
I have just overcome my nerves with the meeting, I should assume, but I totally missed. So thank you.